Alrighty, had a little bit of a glitch there, so apologies if when you join, things weren't streaming. Hopefully they're live now. I seem to always have issues when I start my stream. Um, cool. So, uh, in case you missed it, WordPress Beta 2 is out, literally 19 hours ago. I love it when the WordPress core team releases a beta or a release candidate right before I'm about to stream, because then it gives me something to stream about. Um, and the cool thing is that the big sort of piece, update, whatever, merge proposal that I'm following for this is the WordPress WP client. So let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. So about 3 weeks ago now, Felix proposed merging the AI client into WordPress 7.0. There was a lot of discussion around this. And one of the highlights that I want to focus on today, but just mention before I dive in, is two things. Number one, they're just merging the foundational sort of structure of the AI client. So no providers are being registered. But what you can then do is have providers that you then install or register separately. So I'm going to look at that today as well. And then also in this conversation, Matt commented and actually said, so the first thing that he commented on February 7th was about what can we learn from OpenRouter, and that inspired me to develop an OpenRouter provider for WordPress, which I'll chat about in a second as well. But then later on, he also said, if I can find it here, he also said, so I'm a no, but not for the reasons you might think. And I always find it very interesting when Matt says no, but for other reasons than what folks might think. Essentially, what he was saying, and I actually really appreciate what he said here. He said, let's think about this from a user perspective. WordPress has had a place for 20 years where people have already been copying and pasting API keys alongside Hello Dolly, the only plugin we include, blah, blah, blah. The headline feature should be that WordPress now has a connector settings page. When you visit setting connectors, there can be OAuth flows and a keychain for putting in API keys. And what I really like about this is it's not just about AI providers. It's about any external connection that requires API keys. So he talks about Akismet and other plugins should register their keys to be on this page. So instead of users having to go around to a bunch of different menu areas, there is one place for all of this. And I really, really love that. Because for the last however many years, if you are building a plugin that has an external connection, you have to register your own page or you have to register it in options menu, blah, 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 blah. I'll give you a very, very simple example. I think I might have it on my personal blog. The Seriously Simple Podcasting plugin that I used to work on many, many, many moons ago is not currently enabled. So let me just enable it quickly. Don't think oh no, it is enabled. Okay, never mind. Sorry, there it is. It has its own settings page. And in that settings page, if you want to connect to Castos hosting, you enter your API key in the settings page. And there are pros and cons to both approaches. I kind of understand the point of having all the Castos settings in the Castos settings page. But if the only thing you're adding is an API key, I like the idea of having them all on one place. Now, what plugin developers could do is they could use this global connectors page, register their API key there, and then also have it in their settings. Either could work. So this then inspired a whole bunch of activity and a whole bunch of movement. And so one of the things that is happening, and it got merged yesterday for the beta, was this global connectors page. So my plan is to dive into it today, to see what's there, what's not there, kind of figure out how it all works. I kind of already know how it's all going to work because I think I tested it on beta 1 the other day, or last week even. But but I just want to kind of dig into it today and see what we can figure out. So I have my WordPress site here. It is running beta 2, so it's as up to date and as fresh as we can get. It doesn't have any plugins installed currently. Sorry, active currently, so it's just a clean install. And if we go to the connectors page, there we go. So currently it supports OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini. And then you can find more connectors in the plugin directory. And for example, somebody actually sent this to me this week. I think it was, I'm going to open up my Slack and just take it off screen quickly. I think it was Aslam who sent it to me. Yes, Aslam Doctor. He has created an AI provider for Grok. So if we search here, AI provider for Grok, you can then edit it. So what I want to first do is I want to have a look at the code that's been merged around all this, and just kind of see what's there. So in my WordPress install here, I'm going to simply search for AI client and see where this all exists. That way, client, there we go. Okay. So it's in WP includes. Okay, so WP includes AI client. So there's all the code there. So there is the prompt builder. And you will see that it has all of the prompt methods, so with text, with file, with message, all that kind of thing. And I feel like there's I want to do a search for this as well. I feel like there's a global function that you can use. Yes, here we go. So there's this AI client.php. Okay, so it's that file. So it's, there we go, AI client.php, there we go. Okay. So AI client.php uses the WordPress AI client package or class. And there's this global function called WP AI client prompt that you can use. It will then create a new instance of the prompt builder and take your prompt, and then you can use any of these other methods on the prompt builder. So with text, use model, etc., etc., etc. So it's all documented here. This will all get documented in the WordPress reference docs. So it'll all be there and available. I just want to have a look and see what else is being added. So there's API function calls, so that you can execute abilities, execute a WordPress ability from a function call. So it looks like it just works with built-in abilities. So I'm keen to check that out at some point. I don't know if I'll check it out today. And then there's some adapters. So there's the HTTP client adapter. This is all just making it all work internally. So that's where the code is that's coming in. That's what's been merged. And as you can see, it doesn't include any providers yet, so it can't actually do anything. I seem to recall there is also a switch where you can switch this off. So if I have a look for, let's go AI client PHP. Okay, so all right, so it's just including the AI client. If we go into the AI client, okay, I don't see any filters yet that'll actually turn it off. There was a conversation around that. Okay, so currently it's just being included by the looks of it. So I don't know whether that functionality is still coming or not. Okay, so what this means is there's a couple of things I'm thinking about. So currently there's this connectors page, and if I configure, okay, so it's an install. So let's see what happens when I click install. Yes, beta 2, Aslam, which is why I mentioned your plugin earlier. Okay, so if I click install, I want to see what that does. It's probably going to install the Anthropic provider. So let's have a look. Yes, okay, so that's cool. So on the connectors page, if I want to use that connector, I click install and installs that plugin. That's kind of cool if you think about like third-party plugins that are connectors. If you want to connect things up, you have this process to install the plugin. So that's kind of cool. The user doesn't have to worry about it. And then if I go back there, then it checks, is there a plugin? I can set it up, add my API key, and I'm good to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my 1Password and take it off screen so that you don't all steal my passwords. And get my API keys. And I'm going to grab that one. If I paste it now, hopefully, let's just see, I'm going to type some letters. Ooh, it's not password protected by the looks of it. I'm going to just take this off screen quickly and just verify that. Indeed, it is not registered as a password field when you paste it. So what I would prefer to see there is that when I paste it, it's passworded, but there's a little thingy there. So if anybody wants to log that, AJ, Aslam, anybody, please do. I would prefer to see it that it, when I paste it in, it's that password field, and then there's that little eye icon. I wonder if the cancelus one does that. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's go podcasting settings. Ooh, the cancelus one doesn't do that either. So that's interesting. I wonder if that's a problem. I mean, it's only a problem for me because I'm streaming this. I guess that's not the end of the world if you're just saving it. It is at least saved and protected once you save it. So I guess that's okay. I don't know. Maybe it needs to, I don't know. I mean, once it's saved, then I can't show it to you again, because if I click edit, I can't copy it. So that's not the end of the world. I don't know. Okay, so now with that in place, what that means is I should be able to use this provider inside of a plugin. Now I do have this little PHP AI client thing set up. I'm going to keep the prompt builder now. I'm going to keep the AI client open. So I had this little test plugin that I'm using to test these things. It's a very small PHP file, and essentially what it's doing is it's registering a WP-CLI command, PHP AI demo text. I'm just going to call this AI demo text. And then you give it a prompt and then it generates some stuff. And then I just want to make sure, I think it is using the prompt. There we go. No, that was wrong. Yeah, so it's already using this. I was doing this when I was testing this the other day. And then I'm logging the error. And then I want to return result text. I think that's right. Let's just see here. Let's go to the prompt builder. I think it's just, hang on. I think it's just results. Can't remember. Anyway, let's run it and see what happens. Okay, we'll log that to the debug log. So let me just make sure that Debugging is on. I'm going to take this off screen because I might have configured some API keys in my config the last time I was doing this. So give me a second. Yeah, thought so. Oh, it's just my open router key. Not the end of the world. Okay, but debugging is enabled, so that's fine. So I can close that. Okay, so let's see what this does. So now if I go to my terminal, and I go to the site, I should be able to run wp-cli AI demo text. wp AI demo text should give me an error. Oh, not a registered command. Oh, the plugin's not enabled. Silly boy. There we go. Let's try that again. Please provide a prompt. Cool. WP AI demo text. Let's just say a WordPress haiku. Okay, so that gave me an error because text is a string. Call to member function text on string. So it's just the result that gets returned. Let me confirm that. Previous errors. Yeah, so the result is just the string. Okay, so I just need to return the results. Couldn't remember if it was a string or an object. Let's clear out my debug log. Let's run that again. No, not that one. That one. There we go. Cool. Every WordPress admin knows this feeling. Sometimes the bots are actually funny. Okay, so that's cool. So that works. So now what that means is if you're a plugin developer and you want to enable AI functionality, it means that your users you don't need to do anything in your plugin if you want your users to support OpenAI, Claude, or Gemini. You can just tell them, this is what we use. You don't have to worry about the provider. You can just create your plugin that does your AI stuff. And the user decides what provider they want to use because it's their money, it's their cash. So that's cool. So what that means, for example, is somebody could come. Now here's an interesting thing. The other thing I would like to see, here it says find more connectors in the plugin directory, right? That takes me to the plugin install page. What I would like that link to do is the following. Make WordPress org plugins. And I'm going to search for the AI providers. So let's just find this one. Let's go to its plugin page. So what are these tagged as? That's the question. Let's say if I search AI provider. See, what I would like this to do when I click on that link is it automatically, let me go back to the connectors page, it automatically filters available plugins by AI providers. Now, I don't know how we do that. AI as the tag. Problem is that's not wide enough. So we need a tag that is AI, or we need all the providers to update their plugins with the AI provider tag. But you see, then all these other plugins come through. That's annoying. That's search, that's why. Tags. It should be AI provider. And then, see, these are coming up as well. It's annoying. It would be cool if there was a way that you could automatically filter by just the providers when you hit this page. So another idea. Gajendra, AJ, Aslam, if you want to log this, maybe one of you log it as a question somewhere. Maybe ask in the Core AI channel. I think that's something worth thinking about, because that would be a very cool user experience. I click on this, it takes me to plugins, lists all the current providers. So I will see the list. Maybe it's a search, I don't know. Maybe search is not the best. Maybe we need to have one of those tags in here, because all I want to see is, and I'm not going to get them this way, is I want to see, for example, Aslam's one for Grok. I want to see, so let me come up here, you watch. Grok, I think you called it. Not even coming up. I'm going to have to open up Slack now. Oh, it's in GitHub. I don't think, okay, I don't think Aslam has submitted it to the repository. Okay, fair. That's fair. Maybe submit it, Aslam. I've submitted mine. So I've submitted my open router one because James asked me to. But I would consider, and that's what I want to see. I want to see, so there's this one, WordPress AI team. Let's just go open a new tab here. Even this is not being listed. So I want to see AI provider for Anthropic, AI provider for, what's the other one? Google, I think it is. Another one that the team built, pretty sure. Not finding it. Hang on, let's do it this way. Let's go WordPress.org. And then let's go plugins. Yeah, so there's Anthropic, Google, OpenAI. So I want to see a list of those three and any other community plugins that are specifically AI providers. That could be, there can be multiple providers for the same service. That's fine. You know, if somebody else submits an AI provider for OpenRouter or for Grok or for, I mean, whether the plugin team accepts it, that's another story, because I know the plugin team is quite strict on duplicate plugins. But when I click on that link, it would be cool to be able to just see plugins for the connectors page. And so here's the other side of it is the connectors are, the point of the connectors is, so it's not just about AI providers, it's also about any other kind of connector. So should it just show AI providers? I don't know. That's maybe a conversation that I don't get to have because I'm not one of the core contributors. But some kind of filtering when I click on that link. Maybe instead of providers, maybe it's a tag called connectors. So if we go back to tags, maybe the tag is connectors. And then it's any kind of connector. Let's see, that's doing a search. Maybe the tag is connectors and that lists all the connectors. And then if it's AI connectors or external API connectors or whatever, you just install and off you go. So maybe that's the way to do it. Something like that. Anyway, I'm getting beside myself here. So what I want to do now is I want to install, I'm not going to install Aslam's one purely because I don't have a Grok API key. And here we go with the spam comments. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the AI provider for OpenRouter. Now, the one other thing that I wanted to know is, can I add my connector for OpenRouter, for example, to this connectors page? So I want to have a look at that quickly. So let's see what that's for. So connectors. Okay, register. Site editor root. It doesn't look like there's currently a way for me to... Okay, here's the rendering of the connectors page. And then it's a JavaScript. I'm going to have to find okay, so it's currently the one question. The other question I do have right now is how would I, if I wanted to, for example, add OpenRouter. So I've got a plugin that is an AI provider for OpenRouter. How would I register the OpenRouter connector so that the user can just add their connector here? I don't quite know where that code lives. It doesn't look like it's in PHP. Let's just do a search for connectors and let's see what we... So there's a connectors.php, okay. Okay, using that. Register the connector menu item. Connectors, menu item, masks an API key. Okay. Checks whether the API key is valid. Retrieves the key. Gets the registered connector provider settings. Okay. Get provider settings. Okay, but it doesn't look like I can add providers. So what I could do is I could just register my own setting to the connectors group. Now I almost want to take a look at the data. The option name is connectors. I can never remember how to use Table Plus. No. It's like there's a filter thing somewhere. No. No, no, that's all. I know people like to use Table Plus, but I find it to be difficult to navigate myself. What I want to do is I want to filter. Ah, they're filters. You gotta go their filters. And that enable. This is what annoys me. The button's there and then I go back here. The button should be up here. Any column? No, not any column. Option name. Like. No. Connectors. That didn't work. Let's just give it a wild card. There we go. There you can see my key. Not all of it, thankfully. Okay, so actually, Let's do that. So it's connectors, AI, blah, blah, blah. But it looks like it stores it like that. But now, this is just registering the setting. So I would, yeah, it doesn't look like currently. I suppose what I could do is I could in the init register another setting. To the connectors group. That would probably do it. So if I register another setting to the connectors group, then it should theoretically show up. Okay, that makes sense. So what I would like to do now is two things. Number one, I'm going to just disable my API key, just in case. If I can remember even where to do it. And then what I want to do is I want to stick all of this in the error log just to see when it's registering. This. No. Keep hitting the wrong buttons. There, that's what I want. Don't know why this is freaking out. Okay, so I just want to see what gets registered to the group. So let's do this. Just going to clear my debug log. Okay. And let's just refresh the connectors page. Caused myself an error. The message must be of type string. What am I doing? Ah, what have I done? I've broken something. Oh! Swear I knew what I was doing. Is that right? Print log, blah, 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 blah. There. There, that's better. Okay, let's refresh that. Okay, that's also working. So let's see what's in the debug. So that's the option that it registers, and then it's type, Google API key, blah, and then there's a callback. Config sanitize. That looks like it's... Maybe it's just... do this. Just print out the config. My brain doesn't work anymore. There. Okay. So theoretically, you should be able to just register an option, register a setting, should I say. Settings. Sanitize. Oh, here we go. Here's the static function. There it is. There's the function. Okay. So it would be cool if there was a filter here that I could just add a provider. So I'm going to add one now quickly just to test this. I think it's providers equals my filters. And also something like WP connectors providers. Yeah. Okay, so if I add that there, then in my plugin, I should be able to add action init, and then give it a function. Demo init, and then add filter, call that. Do I even need to do the init? I don't. I can just add the filter. No, I don't. HP AI demo register provide. Okay, and then function register provider, providers, and then I'm going to add open router. Open router to providers. That theoretically should work. That should be all it's needed to register a connector. I don't know what it's going to do with the image though. So let's have a look. Let's see. I'm just hacking core here. I'm not going to obviously commit any of these changes anyway, but I just want to see what that does. Okay, that's not enough. It's got to be. I'm guessing other stuff's got to be added to the front end. So I guess that's coming. I don't know if it's coming before RC. I'm going to do some finding out after this. But I do know that the other way you can do it is if you just do it in your own plugin, or if you register a constant. So I'm going to do that now quickly. I think I've still got my open router. Yes, I've still got my open router API key. So I should be able to, let's go back to Claude and okay, so there's no key there. Okay, so let's disable that plugin. Deactivate. So we'll delete Anthropic. We'll delete OpenAPI. Or OpenAI. We'll leave OpenRouter. We'll activate that. There's the demo. That still works. I just want to verify that my API key is sitting in the WP config. So I'm going to do that off screen. And I can confirm it is still there. Okay, excellent. So now I should be able to run the AI demo again with only the open router provider. So let's see if that works. It works. I didn't get a snarky comment at the end. It was pretty quick. I feel like it was a lot quicker than Anthropic. But essentially, that's all you need to do. You need to register a provider, which, as I said, there are a bunch already. There's Anthropic, Google, OpenAI. Aslam did one for Grok. I did one for OpenRouter. Last week, I think it was last week or the week before, I shared that Laurie had one for Mistral. So whatever provider there is, if somebody creates a plugin for it, it'll just work with the WP AI client if they use the right providers. And if the API key is registered either in the config or in the settings or the whatever, it'll just work. So that's that. This is in WordPress 7 beta 2 now. So there's a good chance this will ship for 7.0 in April. WordCamp Asia, if I'm not mistaken, that's the plan. Let me just verify that. 8th of April, thank you. So here it says scheduled for release on 9th of April, so it's at WordCamp Asia. It's going to happen live as far as I know. So everybody who's going to be in WordCamp Asia is going to see that. It's going to be fun. I'm very jealous. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be somewhere else though, which I will share in the coming weeks. But if it all goes well, then this is coming to WordPress. Basically setting up WordPress to be ready for AI. It doesn't include any providers yet, so it's up to users to install providers, and it's up to plugin developers to make use of those providers. So the two things I would like to see out of this is a way to filter the plugins, so that if you want to install providers outside of these three, it automatically takes you there and shows you what's available. And then, as I said, the other thing was a way to add custom connectors to this page. So basically what I think you would end up doing is in your provider code. So for example, in my AI provider for OpenRouter, I would ideally have a setting, a filter, an action or whatever that I could say, right, this is the provider, so this is what the connector should look like. This is the image, blah, 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 blah. Load it up and off we go. So I'm going to do some asking around and finding out about that. If I do find anything, I'll try and share it on my social media. But that's very, very cool. I'm glad to see it coming sooner rather than later. I'm also interested to know how this works with abilities, so I'm going to be diving into that in the coming weeks. And what is kind of nice about this is that now abilities and the AI client are part of WordPress core. So if you want to show people this, it's already there. Then I've been doing demos and having to install multiple different plugins. Yeah, there's not much else I think that will come to core after this. I think it'll be these two things, and then everything else will be plugins that you install, so, or external software. So like the MCP adapter, I don't think will ever come to core. I don't see these providers coming to core to be something you want to enable on a per need basis. And what that does is that allows WordPress to be flexible, because if MCP gets replaced with something else, we just create a new wrapper for that something else and we just start implementing it. If new providers come out, we just create new plugins for those providers. But these two pieces, the AI client internally and the abilities API, are kind of setting WordPress up to be ready for whatever's coming in the field of AI. So kind of exciting. that's kind of all I have for this week, folks. I was planning on at least streaming for an hour, but I really don't have anything else to share. This went a lot quicker and a lot easier than I thought it would. So I'm going to call it here. It is 10 minutes to the hour. So thank you everybody for joining. Thank you Aslam, AJ, and Gajendra for joining me. It's awesome to know that there are folks watching. And if you have a moment, I'm going to do this. If you have a moment, I would appreciate it if you could do the following. Hey, Carolina's here as well. Hey, Carolina. Thanks for joining. On my YouTube channel, I created a post yesterday where I was talking about the fact that for the last few weeks I've been experimenting with a new edited video format where I take the stream video and then I edit it up and I turn it into a shorter video, sort of less than 15 minutes. And so I'd love to hear if you've been watching any of these videos, if you find this interesting. So if you've been watching the videos on YouTube, please do vote in the poll. Gajendra, unfortunately, I'm not coming to a WordCamp Asia. I did submit a workshop and a talk, and I was accepted, but unfortunately, I'd already submitted elsewhere because when I saw the speaker announcements coming out, I thought that they'd passed on my workshop. So then another opportunity came up. It's on the same weekend, and so I applied for that, and I was accepted for that. And so I am sad that I'm not coming to WordCamp Asia, but hopefully I'll be there in future times. But I will be somewhere else, not in Asia that weekend. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. But my colleagues Ryan and Birgit will be there, so keep an eye out for them. And I will be cheering you all on from afar. All right, folks, that's me. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, everybody who was here today. I love the interaction in the chat, so thank you for that. It makes me feel like I'm not just talking to a wall. Looking forward to seeing all these AI things come to WordPress. As I say, I'm gonna do some research into how the connectors work. I'm gonna try and figure out how we can add our own connectors, and I'll hopefully share that information somewhere on social media in the next week. Have a great rest of your Friday, rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week Friday. Bye.